Welcome to the podcast Get to Know Your Body. This is Melissa Ortiz. The content of this podcast is the following: anatomical terms like anatomical position, regional names, and body cavities. Integumentary system, the description of the body tissues, components, and functions. And the skeletal muscular system, that is the same description of the body tissues, components, and functions. Feedback systems, explanation of the positive and negative feedback systems. Skin cancer and osteoporosis, some risk factors for developing these diseases. And chronic diseases, plan of activities to prevent them. Anatomical terms.
Anatomical position. The person must stand erect with the head level and eyes facing forward. Feet flat on the floor and directed forward. Arms hanging at the sides with palms facing forward. Regional names. The regional names are head, neck, trunk, upper limbs, and lower limbs, and are ubicated as the following image. There are also body planes. Some of them are sagittal plane that divides the body into left and right equal sections, transverse plane that divides the body into superior and inferior sections, and frontal plane that divides the body into anterior and posterior sections. The body cavities are cranial cavity, vertebral cavity, thoracic cavity, abdominal pelvic cavity, and each cavity has some organs inside. The cranial cavity has the brain, the vertebral cavity has a spinal cord, the thoracic cavity contains lungs, bronchi, trachea, pleura, heart, pericardium, lymphatics, and esophagus. And the abdominal pelvic cavity contains the stomach, liver, spleen, gallbladder, small intestine, large intestine, urinary bladder, kidneys, and the reproductive system.
Integumentary muscle systems. The skin. The skin protects the muscle. Skin is the largest organ in the body. It has two layers. First is the epidermis and the second layer is the dermis. Its functions are the thermoregulation, blood reservoir, protects tissues from bacteria, microbes, etc., the synthesis of vitamin D, and the sense of touch. We have four types of tissues in our body. The first one is epithelial tissue, major tissue glands that form the covering of all body surfaces, line body cavities and organs. Its functions are protection, secretion, absorption, excretion, filtration, diffusion, and sensory reception. The epithelial tissue types are simple epithelium, cuboidal epithelium, columnar epithelium, squamous epithelium, stratified epithelium, and pseudostratified epithelium. Then there are the connective tissues, group of tissues in the body that maintain the form of the body and its organs. Its functions are that it gives support, protection, structure, stores fat, move nutrients, help repair damaged tissues. And the types are bone, cartilage, fat, blood, lymphatic tissue, reticular, adipose, dense, and loose. There are also muscle tissues, consist of elongated cells called muscle fibers that use ATP to generate force. Its functions are that it produces movements like walking, running, etc., stabilizes body positions like standing, sitting, store and move substances within the body, generates heat, and provides protection. The types are skeletal muscle tissue, that is attached to the bones of the skeleton, cardiac muscle tissue, that is found in the wall of the heart, and smooth muscle tissue, that is found in the walls of hollow internal structures. Then there's the nervous tissues, coordinate and controls many body activities. It is found in the brain, spinal cord, and nerves. And its functions are sensory input, integration of data, motor output, and its types are neuron and neuralgia. Skeletal muscle systems. The function of the bones are to support the body, protect the internal organs, store calcium, and provide structure and form to the body. The bone structure is proximal epiphysis, distal epiphysis, diaphysis, articular cartilage, medullary cavity, nutrient foramen, and spongy bone, just like it is shown on the image. An articulation or joint is a point of contact of two bones, between bones and cartilage or between bone and teeth. The skeletal muscle is composed by thousands of cells called muscle fibers. Tendons are attached to the bones of the skeleton, and the contraction of the skeletal muscle causes the bones at a joint to move. Feedback system. There are positive feedback and negative feedback loops. The positive feedback occurs to increase the change or input, and the result of a reaction is implied to make it occur more quickly. For example, the amplification of labor contractions. Contractions begin when the baby is positioned, stretching the cervix beyond its normal position. Feedback increases the strength and frequency of contractions until the baby is born. The second example is in lactation, during which a mother produces milk for her baby. For example, the control of blood sugar. And the second example is when the body temperature drops, the hypothalamus initiates several psychological responses to increase heat production and conserve heat. Skin cancer and osteoporosis. The skin cancer is the out-of-control growth of abnormal cells in the epidermis, the outermost skin layer. Some risk factors of skin cancer are lighter natural skin color, blue or green eyes, blonde or red hair, certain types and number of moles, familiar history of skin cancer, personal history of skin cancer, old age, unprotected and long exposure to UVA and UVB rays, indoor tanning, and genetics. Osteoporosis is a health condition that weakens bones, making them fragile and more likely to break. Some risk factors of osteoporosis are low calcium intake, eating disorders, excessive alcohol consumption, smoking, not doing exercise, genetic, age, sex, meaning that women are more likely to develop osteoporosis, and if you have white skin or you are Asian. Here are some chronic diseases and how to prevent them. How can we prevent osteoporosis? First of all, we must follow alimentary habits and some physical activities to achieve this. We have to consume vitamin D supplements, leafy green vegetables, red meat, oily fish such as salmon, sardines, herring, and mackerel. We have to consume liver, dried fruit, egg yolks, tofu, and cereals. For the physical activities, these people must do exercise every day, at least 1 hour. We have to do strength exercise, balance exercises, flexibility exercises, sitting exercises, and aerobic exercises. It is also recommended to quit smoking and stop drinking alcohol. Diabetes is another disease that we must avoid. Some of the recommendations are eating whole grains, eating vegetables, legumes, consume leafy green vegetables, healthy fats and omega-3, eggs, cinnamon, chia seeds, and nuts. For the physical activities, we must do exercise every day, at least 1 hour, and we must do aerobic exercise like walking, swimming, jogging, biking, and aerobic dance. And we have to practice a sport. Other tips are avoiding sugar, keep weight under control, limit red meat, avoid processed meat, and skip the sugary drinks. And finally, our plan to avoid and prevent obesity are encouraging people eating slowly and just when they are hungry. Consume appropriate portion sizes. Eat healthy foods like fruits and vegetables. Drink a lot of water and limit unhealthy foods. For the physical activities, it is recommended to exercise every day at least 1 hour and practice a sport. Other tips are reduce sedentary activity like watching television and videotapes and playing computer games.